What's going on, guys? Joey Tabor here. We've had a lot of technical difficulties. Some people backed out. So the normal Sunday show is just going to be me for a few minutes talking. I know I'm not as pretty as Zara and maybe not as interesting as Mark, but I want to get you guys involved. I'm going to hit the comment box quite often. I got a few topics to talk about after today's big Derby win. So the first topic we're going to talk about Jose Mourinho. Now, I got a notification on my phone last night about Jose Mourinho signing a pre-contract deal, and it was from the Guardian, and it was saying something along the lines of if he's not hired by June 1st or something like that, that they would owe him a significant amount of money. So I'm going to talk about that, get some comments, see what you guys think. Me personally, I think it's been a gentleman's agreement for a while. I think maybe since January that we've known he's going to come in. I think Jorge Mendes has you know done his bit of work. He's a fantastic agent. He's got some of the top quality players around Europe, and Ed Woodward and him seem to get along pretty well. So a pre-contractual agreement probably on the cards. So let me know in the comment box what you guys think. Do you guys think it's a done deal? Because I do. I think Jose Mourinho is definitely coming. I've talked about that on multiple videos. I've said, that he has to be the manager because you look around, you can't take the risk with Giggs. You can't, fall further into the abyss. Giggs isn't a guaranteed thing by any means. You know what you get with Jose Mourinho. He's got Premier League experience. He's got uh, he's got titles, European trophies. His style of football questionable, but when he does play attacking football, like we saw his first half of the season with Chelsea, it was fun to watch. So I'm gonna hit some comments. Ahmed hopes it's a done deal. So do I. I like that one too. Let me get back up there. Alex Mitchell said if Jorge Mendes wants it to happen, it will happen. I couldn't agree more. I think I would rather be on Jorge Mendes's good side than his bad side because he does have some of the top clients around, including De Gea, I believe. There's another comment. Jose going to slide down Anfield and piss on the fans. Hey, Jose doesn't like the Scousers, and neither do we. So it's just um, Zane says I shouldn't listen to the Guardian. They talk crap, and that's true. That's a whole nother topic. The journalism in England compared to the States is so different. But yeah, today's win was big, and you saw some players today perform pretty well. Marcus Rashford, Anthony Martial played well. Michael Carrick was excellent today. Daley Blind was good. Chris Smalling was great. The fullbacks were really good, except Rojo. He was probably the worst player on the pitch for Man United. And there was a really good question brought up in the live stream that me and Mark did. Me and Mark watched the game, and instead of your normal punditry from Sky Sports or if you're in the States, NBC, we kind of watched the game, gave our thoughts on it. You saw our live reactions to the goals, to the shots, to the the yellow cards, the penalty decision that never came, and it was just something different we wanted to try, and actually had a lot of fun talking, with the comments and talking with Mark. So we're probably going to do that again. And then Mark did his normal after game reaction. So if you want to see more about the City game, look in the videos. Mark did his normal reaction, and yeah. So a question somebody asked us in the live stream earlier was, he asked two questions. He asked, which players do you think Jose Mourinho will get rid of, and which ones will Jose bring in? So first, I guess we could talk about some of the players I think he might get rid of. Obviously, unfortunately, Juan Mata will probably be one of them. He just hasn't been consistent enough for me. He when he's on and he's on form, he's brilliant. But he's just not, whether it's him being played out of position or with, the inconsistency. When he does play at number 10, he has Fellaini behind him, or he'll have Rooney in front of him, and he won't have those runners around him he really needs. You saw him interchanging today with Lingard and Martial, and he was popping up in the middle and on the right. And that pass today for the goal was excellent. Unfortunately, under Jose, I just don't see, he sold him once. He doesn't really fit his style of counterattacking play. He's not as defensive as Jose would like his number 10. You look at Oscar, even Wesley Sneijder will track back. So I think Juan Mata will be a definite casualty. So that's my question for you guys in the comment box. Let me know now, which players will Josie be getting rid of? Sid Alley United said Jones for corners. Hopefully, that's something we'll never have to see ever again. I don't even want to think about it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't even want to, it's just horrible. Phil Jones taking corners. And that's another player I think that's going to be maybe pushed out. I think Phil Jones is just, look, when he's healthy and gets that run of games, I think him and Smalling's record is fantastic. But hold on, we got oh, no, we're good. Yeah, Phil Jones's record when Smalling is pretty damn good, to be honest. If you look at the numbers and the stats, their winning percentage is above 50, 60, maybe closer to 70%. And that's something you want to see. He's young, he's English, but he just can't stay healthy. You sneeze on the guy and he's got a broken leg. Or if you look at him wrong, he makes a face and he's tweaked another muscle. And, he just hasn't – you see that with Smalling. He got the run of games that we wanted to see. And it's really working out for Smalling. And I know Phil Jones has that capability to be a good player, But at the same time, he doesn't – for me, Smalling still needs to work on areas of his game, and part of it of Smalling's game is his distribution from the back. That's why Daley Blind next to him makes a lot of sense. If Daley Blind was just a little bit more, maybe a bit bigger and a bit more physical, then I really, they would be a great partnership. They're not bad, but to be where we want to be, challenging for the league and challenging for Europe, you need a world-class center back next to Chris Smalling. So Phil Jones for me, he goes. Marcus Rojo, again, hasn't shown enough. What's his best position? Is he a left back? Is he a center back? Can he stay healthy? It's just too many questions about health. Now, how much part of it, Phil Jones, we know is injury prone. He's been like that for 3 managers. Now, Marcus Rojo, is it down to the training? Is it down to, to his style? The jury's still out on Marcus Rojo. I know a lot of fans are split, but yeah. Thanks, Julian, for that comment. I saw some people saying there's a comment, Fellaini was 10 out of 10 today. Couldn't agree more. Van Gaal smartly benched him and started Schneiderlin, and you saw that today. And then moving on, more players that I think might go. I've seen a couple people say Rooney. I think Rooney should go. I think his time has passed him. He's too inconsistent. But we know that Jose Mourinho wanted to buy him his first year at Chelsea. He might be, his typical number 10, because we know Rooney will track back. He'll really get stuck in. So I could see Wayne Rooney staying. But yeah, Fellaini's gone, Jones, and I'm trying to think of who else might go. Anybody else I forgot? Zane asks me, Joey, would you rather Marwan, Fellaini, or LVG? Probably Fellaini, because the next manager will be smart and probably not play him, or play him where he, should be played. And with LVG here, we know what LVG is capable of. Valencia, Liam Genius says, I think Valencia is a decent squad player at this point in his career. I like him as a backup fullback, and if he's comfortable playing in that role, I would love him to stay there. Januzaj, he's another one. I've heard rumors about his attitude. But Dylan asked who's captain if Waza and Carrick go, and I think the captain could be Chris Smalling. I think he's a candidate. And also, there will be players coming in, and hopefully there'll be some leaders coming in. But yeah, De Gea could be captain, but I don't think, you don't sell Rooney and Carrick just because you don't have another captain. But yeah, going in under the players that I think he could sign. Let me know who you guys think. For me, I've targeted a few areas on what we need to do and who we should sign. Right wing, striker, center back are probably the top 3 positions. It also depends on if De Gea goes or not. And the players that I think we should be targeting, if you keep Wayne Rooney and you have Anthony Martial, I think Ibrahimovic has been a name that's popped up. I think you get him on a year or 2 contract. A striker like that might suit us. He can score goals. We know that, all types of goals. He's got that bit of swagger and cockiness that I feel like we need. And I think, now I'm not saying he's Eric Cantona, but when United were struggling to score in the early 90s, and they needed that bit of quality to really raise everybody around him, and everybody else gets they get a rise out of that. And I think he could be that type of signing for us. Obviously, there's so many players in the right wing and the main name that always comes up is Gareth Bale. Will Real Madrid sell him? I have no clue. I know that United want Gareth Bale. They want him to sell shirts. They want him because he used to play in the Premier League. He's got the experience. He is world class, and he would fit right into this United team and into the United ethos, in my opinion. And I think under Jose Mourinho, he will get even better than he is now. However, I don't know if that deal can happen. But there's also other players. There's an Italian player named Domenico Berardi, who's young, talented, and also Riyad Mahrez is someone we could look at. So I would like to see them brought in. And then you look at center back, and there's a name that popped up a few weeks ago that I don't think will happen. But I think Jose Mourinho might look at a Leonardo Bonucci. I don't know if you can prize him away from Juventus, but if you could, he's 28. I know it's a little bit older, but the dude is world class for me. Coming out of the back, he's excellent on the ball, reads the game well, and I would really, really like to see us pursue him. Or it's also known that Mourinho was big on John Stones, and went in a few times to try and buy him. So I'm just looking at some of the comments here. I see a few that I like. Shubham, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name. Rajaganak said Dybala. I would love Dybala, but there's no way they're signing him. It would cost something like 80, 90 million to get them to think about signing him. He is a fantastic player. I mean, I was a little upset that we didn't really pursue him because, yeah, I do. I'm a big fan of Dybala, and I think if we were kind of going in that direction of building, like, with the young talented players, you have Memphis, Martial, Rashford, Dybala. I mean, that would be awesome. But I don't see Dybala. Zayn Abbas says America Laporta. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love Laporta, but I think he's nailed on to play for Barcelona. They seem to be big fans of his. So don't get me wrong. Stones, Laporta, Bonucci would be probably maybe my top 3 picks for center back to partner with Smalling too. I'm also looking at it as a partnership. Laporta good on the ball, Stones good on the ball, and Bonucci very good on the ball, because I think they would complement Chris Smalling really well. And I think when you're looking at building partnerships, you have to see what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and can they complement each other. And I think they would complement pretty well. Dylan Sheridan says Felipe Anderson. I think there's a lot of question marks around Felipe Anderson. I think he doesn't do it consistently enough, and to pay 35, 36 million pounds for somebody like that, would be a gamble. ABZ21 says we should go for Griezmann. Griezmann's a great player, can play in any of the positions across the front 3. He's got an eye for goal. He's hungry. He's young. He's another player that, he has a buyout clause. That would be another good shout to go after. And Gareth Groom says James Rodriguez. Now, there's a lot of questions about James, and his hunger and, how he fits in. But, yeah. Nadeem Nassar says Tony Kroos. Man, I was talking with somebody the other day, and we were talking about, Moyes had that deal for Tony Kroos, and Van Gaal turned it down. If that's true, that's a huge mistake, because Tony Kroos is world class. For me, he's world class. He can dictate play. He's not Scholes, but he reminds me of Scholes. But maybe he's a little less of an aggressive tackler. But yeah, Marquinhos. There's some great names you guys have mentioned. Hummels. This guy says Hummels isn't good enough, too injury prone. I think Hummels is good enough in my personal opinion. I can see why you would say maybe he's a little bit inconsistent after the World Cup, but I think he had a down year. Lukaku's another name. Götze, Constance Manolis. There are a few. Paul, I just saw your message. So, yeah, Paul's going to come in and join us, I think, if it'll work. And we'll get some other opinions in here. But, yeah, I mean, under Jose Mourinho, I want to say this real quick. Not under Jose Mourinho, under Moyes, when LVG took over, there was a real lack of quality in the squad. And I think if LVG were to go at the end of this year, the team is in a better position than when Moyes left it, and even when Fergie left it. I know Fergie left the champions, but you look out there, you have Anthony Martial playing at striker. He's going to be world class. I think he's nailed on for that. You have Morgan Schneiderlin in the middle. You have Chris Smalling, and then you have De Gea. Right up the middle spine of that team is really solid, and it's really something that you could build around. You have Memphis, who under a new manager, I had no doubt will come good when he gets that arm put around him, and he gets that bit of encouragement. Memphis on that left will be great. the areas that I targeted, right wing, center back to partner small, those are the areas we need. But there are some very nice pieces to build around. Schweinsteiger could be a great, guy to have around the locker room. Herrera, for me, quality player, kind of reminds me of, him and Schneiderlin, or maybe like a Matic Fabregas, but you got Luke Shaw and Darmian, your fullbacks are set for the next couple of years. So there are some really, really nice pieces to build upon. And I am excited about that. So the next topic we're going to talk about is for you guys. This is in the comments. I want you guys to talk about this and give me your thoughts, and I'll read them out loud. Top 4 or the FA Cup? Van Hall said that he would like to get the FA Cup because it'll be a trophy. And he wants to obviously win a trophy, because when it's all said and done, if he is sacked at the end of the year, they're not going to look back and be like, oh, well, you got top 4 2 years in a row. There's your accomplishment. They'll remember the FA Cup. The history books will. So for me, I think while I would love to win the FA Cup, I think the top 4 for me is the priority. I honestly didn't. I'll be hands up. Didn't think we were going to get it through the league. I didn't think top 4 was gone, or I thought top 4 was gone. And a lot of you guys are agreeing. Every comment I've seen so far has been top 4. Top 4 and an FA Cup is obviously the target. But yeah, top 4 it seems to be everyone else agrees with that, and you have to be, because you have to be in Europe. You have to be challenging for the Champions League. You need that to attract the top players. Now, imagine this. Imagine we don't get top 4. Yeah, we win the FA Cup, and they bring Giggs in. What is the selling point of obviously Manchester United is the biggest club in the world, but players want to play in the Champions League. They want to go to premier destinations like Spain and France and the other top teams I'm thinking of. You can't sit there and go, well, we're in the Europa League and hey, we won the FA Cup last year. For me, if you're trying to sell a player a top quality, and we're talking about top quality, Gareth Bale's, your Neymar's, we're not going to get the Neymar, but you know what I'm saying, the top quality players, you need to be in the Champions League. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Plus the Adidas money comes into play. You don't want to start, missing on the Champions League, and you just go down this road of mediocrity, and that's what we need. I agree that top 4 is still on. I can't believe I'm saying that, but today's victory was big. Like, City have won 2 out of the last something. Hit me with some stats, guys, on how bad City have been in the league. Because I didn't see this happening. And, I think that we can achieve this. I think we have to go on some consistent runs, but I didn't see it coming. I thought all our eggs were in the Europa League basket and that it was the only chance for qualifying. But Dean Ambrose fan says, we got world-class players like Di Maria. That's also true, but you have to look around at the situation with Di Maria. Di Maria was on his way out at Real Madrid. Nobody's going to pay that type of money for him. Your Bayern Munich's, your Juventus's, PSG wanted to pay that money, but they couldn't because of financial fair play. So there are certain individual situations like that where you can sign a player without Champions League, but you also look at the wages that he was paid. It was a British transfer fee. So YouTube, the guy's name's YouTube. He hit me up with the comment, City have not won back-to-back Premier League games in 5 months. And if that's true, I mean, that's crazy. Andrew Ellis says top 4 is beyond us, as LVG will play Fellaini next game. He's well and truly deluded if he does play that. Dwayne J says he just wants the FA Cup so he can say he won something in different leagues around the world, and then fuck off, and we'll be struggling to get players and to improve our team. Agreed. I just said that when I was talking about the history books. They'll remember the FA Cup, not the top 4. So yeah, I agree. Top 4 for us, for any reasonable fan, that should be the target. Now, I said something last week that might have caused a bit of controversy. I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but I don't want to say that people overrate the youth, but people expect, and if I wish it was true, but in modern football now, you cannot solely rely on your academy. And while, yes, it would be great, it's fantastic to have 6, 7 academy players in the starting lineup, it's tough because those kids are young. And the class of 92 are for me, they're a one-off. That's never, ever going to happen again. It's a fairy tale story. That's another reason, like Manchester United are just the greatest football story ever told. The class of '92, the Busby Babes, all that, the youth. It's amazing. But you need to have a good academy, I agree, but there's not going to be 6 or 7 players in the first team all the time. Now, 4 or 5 quality players, yes. You have the class of '92. You have, let's talk about some of the world class players out of the academy, because you have, Paul Pogba, who didn't, obviously we know that, and Ravel Morrison, and you have the class of '92, but you can't solely rely on just the academy. So the question for the comments is, out of the current bunch of youngsters, which ones do you guys think will make it? Will be first team starters for 5, 6, 7 seasons. Maybe a couple of them become world class. I hope they do. But you got Varela, Fosu Mensah, Borthwick Jackson, Pereira, Januzaj, Lingard, and anyone else Marcus Rashford. Which ones do you guys think will make it at United for 5, 6? I know we haven't seen much of them, but let me know which one you guys think has the capability to really make it at United. And for me, I see Rashford seems to be the popular one. Pereira, Fosu Mensah, Rashford, Borthwick Jackson, says Dylan Sheridan. Ambrose fan asked me if Martial counts. I'm going to say no, because he didn't come from the academy, even though he's a young player, and I think he's nailed on to make it. I think Martial is just special talent. Sid Ali United said Januzaj and Rashford. I disagree with the Januzaj one. I just think his attitude is so shit, and I think he doesn't work hard enough. I mean, I know I don't see behind the scenes, and I don't get the full context of it, but for me, I think Januzaj is overrated. I think he's had 2-3 good games in 3 years, but I respect your opinion. Andres Pereira seems to be a popular one. Would love to see him get some game time. If knowing that we think that Jose Mourinho's coming in, we know that Morata's probably gone. So wouldn't it be awesome if we could see a front four of, like, on the left, Martial, and then Pereira as the 10, Lingard as the right winger, and Rashford as the striker. I will say this: Mark's comparing. He says not comparing, but he's saying similar attributes to Andy Cole. And I kind of agree with Rashford. I haven't, we've seen the goals he's scored, being in the right areas at the right times. I think Rashford could be a good player. I think he's got that talent in his locker to become a great player for Manchester United. Lingard, I know a lot of people, he splits opinions, but for me, I think he could be a good squad player. I think you could keep him in and around the squad. I was talking with Mark earlier, and I was telling him, those games where you need somebody to do a job and really help out the fullback and work really hard on that side. He's perfect for that. So I'd like to see him stick around the team. But yeah, Pereira, Lingard, Rashford, Fosu Mensah looks, nailed on to be a quality player. Now, I don't get to see a lot of the under 21s or the reserve team games, but I hear that that he is, the real deal, and he's always performing, and he plays in midfield too. Plays midfield, fullback, and also Rohan Gupta makes a really good point. Wilson, I think a lot of people have forgot about Wilson. I know I have, and I think James Wilson could be a good player. El Fido says he's got world-class potential, and I think all these players do have the potential, but I think you have to work hard. I think you have to have a perfect storm almost. You have to have the right manager, the right situation. You have to have the right teammates around you and the right formation. But if you work hard, I think, and you have that talent in you, that no doubt you can be world class or make it at United. Now, I'm looking forward to next season already. Let's hope that we can go on a good run and get top 4. So that's cemented on. Thanks for joining me. This was kind of spur of the moment. I wasn't really planning on being by myself and talking. Normally we have the panel on Sunday, and I'll make sure that we have a panel next Sunday, and we'll give you guys a great show because you deserve it. You guys are the best. If you guys could like the video for me, that would mean a lot. Share it, subscribe to the channel. We're gonna have similar things like the streaming, Mark's reactions. The Sunday shows. I believe they'll be doing something for the Euros, and it's really fun times ahead. So like the video, comment if you disagreed on anything I said. I want to see the comments. I want to see who's Jose going to bring in, who's he going to get rid of. I want to also hear about your what youth players you think could make it at United. Thanks for everybody that watched. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe, and have a good week. And big win today. Come on, United.